We're on the target's private network, and it looks like there's some important traffic going back and forth, but because of the switch, we're not in a position to directly sniff it. However, we could perform an on-path attack, a man-in-the-middle attack. Part of the attack would include ARP poisoning, which would bypass the switch restrictions. The targets would send traffic to us rather than directly to each other, and we would just act as a relay and capture the traffic as it goes through us. So let's try that. We're going to perform a man-in-the-middle attack using Ettercap. We have 3 virtual machines here. There's Metasploitable, which will be the server. There's Kali Linux, which will be the attacker, and Server 2016, which will be the client. Make sure you're logged in to all 3 of them. I'm going to log into Metasploitable as msfadmin. I'm going to come over to Server 2016, log in as administrator, capital PA22W0RD, bang. And Kali, I'm logged in as just regular Kali. To launch Ettercap, in Kali, come up to Apps, Sniffing and Spoofing, Ettercap Graphical. Click that. If you're used to the previous versions of Ettercap, this interface looks really different, but it still has all of the same features. First thing is, it's saying, I'm going to start sniffing immediately on a particular interface. Leave these defaults as is, and come up and click the Accept checkmark. Just click that. So the first thing we need to do is let Ettercap discover all of the hosts on its subnet. We're going to tell it to do some ARP poisoning so that when the client talks to the server, Ettercap will be man in the middle. Ettercap will be the relay between them, using ARP poisoning to both of them. Come over and you see the magnifying glass? Click that. That's Scan for Hosts. It's right now just doing some ARP requests to see who's around. Now to see the various hosts, come over to Host List, click that, and we can see the various hosts. Now, here's where we need to know the IP addresses of the server and the client. On Server 2016, I'm going to open a command prompt, and I'm going to type ipconfig. You do the same thing. My client is 192.168.252.146. Same thing on the server. I'm going to type ifconfig, and my server is 192.168.252.130. So I have to keep that in mind. Coming back to Ettercap, the 2 I want to focus on are 130 and 146. Now, it doesn't matter which one is target 1 and which one is target 2. I just like to make the clients target 1 and the servers target 2, and that's just my personal preference. So I'm going to select my Server 2016 and add to target 1. And I can see down here that it has been added to target 1. And you could add more if you want, but we're fine with what we have. Then I'm going to select 130 and add it to target 2. So now I have 2 targets that I'm going to ARP poison. Then come up over here, and it looks like a little globe, to the MITM menu, click that, and choose ARP poisoning. Click that. Sniff remote connections. Make sure that that's checked. Click OK. And now it is ARP poisoning between the 2 targets. So any communication between Server 2016 and Metasploitable will be relayed through Kali Linux. Okay, so this is happening. If we needed to change any views or anything like that, we could stop the MITM here, we could refresh our list, we could select hosts that we do and don't want to see, we could delete them. We're fine with what we have. I'm just going to expand this a little bit more so we can see the console just a little bit better. So you can see now we're ARP poisoning the victims right now. The first thing to do is to capture a web session. I'm going to come over to Server 2016, and I'm just going to close the command prompt here. I'm going to open a browser, and I'm going to open it to my server's IP. So HTTP 192.168.252.130. You put in yours. Press Enter. Now, no capture yet because we haven't done any real logging in or anything. You can log into Matilda or DVWA. I'll pick DVWA. Click that. Okay, now we have a username and password prompt. As I scroll down, I see that The default is admin with the password. All right, admin password. And quite honestly, you could put in anything you want. We don't care if we're successful or not. We just want to capture them. Let's log in. And boom, you can see it right here. The user was admin and the pass was password. Right there. And you can see that I did it by connecting to this. Okay. That's our first thing. Excellent. What if we were to open an FTP client? Could we do that too? Let me open a command prompt on my client and let me clear screen. And I am going to FTP to my Metasploitable because it's running an FTP server. It's running two actually. FTP to 192.168.252.130. Enter. And who am I? Well, you know what? Let's actually make it a bad authentication. Let's do it right now. I'm Moo, and there's no Moo on Metasploitable. Enter. And the password is let me in. Enter. And you can see it was captured via this man in the middle. Very cool. We have just one more thing to do here. From the client, we're going to try to make an SMB connection. So I'm just going to close this command prompt, close the browser. Let's make an SMB connection because Metasploitable is also running a Samba server. So it's acting as an SMB v1 file and print server. We'll just open a run line and do it from there. So click Start, type Run. Make sure you actually select Run and not one of these other things. Run. Now in the run line, type / 192.168.252.130. Here we go. Enter. It's trying to use my last logon of Moo and let me in. And of course that failed, so let's just try another one. Let me just see. Can I just do MSF admin and MSF admin? And actually, I don't care what we put in. Click OK. In this case, there seems to be some kind of bug here because for whatever reason, it doesn't really show the user. Now, MSF admin worked just fine. I'm not exactly sure what the problem is with Ettercap here. We can come up and make sure the server is selected. And then we can come up over here and we can click this little menu and we can view, let's see some connections. Now we see all these various connections and connection attempts, and it's TCP, UDP, and a whole bunch of stuff we weren't really focused on. I'm just going to get rid of the UDP and the other and just focus on the TCP. Let me scroll down here just a little bit and let me find a connection using port 139. Here it is right here. And view details. Click that. So whatever the bug is, I can't see the account here, but I can see the logon attempt. I can see the logon attempt. I can see both the LM hash and the NTLM hash. We could capture those and send them to a cracker. So that is using a man-in-the-middle ARP spoofing attack between a client and a server using Ettercap, close these details, using Ettercap running on Kali Linux. And with that, we can close everything up and move on.